Welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 294, Blueprint Desk Tensions. Desk Tensions. Recorded on March 15, 2024 from Zenatta Consulting. I am Brett Martin.
And I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
So anyway, this is the third opening we've done of this show. Brett's evidently tired. Still can't pronounce. How is it? Desk
struggling a little with that title. Desk tensions, like extensions. Desk tensions.
Oh, I got it.
The best of
I feel like there's
tensions.
I don't know, man. I'm wiped out, I guess. Anyway, coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada, Tyler. Been here for, I guess.
Big move is complete. Brett is in what looks to be the exact same office, but a little bit of visual trickery might revel that he's actually got a bit of a green screen on here.
Hold up the green Zenatta cup and watch it just disappear. I was actually talking to a client who does products. They manufacture, promote products that are out there. And he goes, "Is that an invisible cup?" Well, I don't know if those are possible. I mean, dude, I want that. Like, well, there you go. Anyway, how's everything been going?
Going good. Yeah, we were lucky to have Greg fill in for you last week. So always appreciate him keeping things moving on. Busy news week last week and this one, but everything keeps just moving right along. You know, Zoho, they stay busy. They never stop making these types of updates and improvements. So it's something to talk about here.
I think in the news, we're doing 6 or 7 stories, but we left like 8 out. So you definitely, there was a lot of news. We'll talk about that here in a little bit later. But before we get to announcements and events, here are some words from our sponsors.
Are you looking into starting a podcast? Or maybe just need some help putting it all together so you could focus on your voice telling your story? Introducing Podcaster Zen. From audio podcasts to video to live streaming a show, we do it all. Head over to podcasterzen.com for more info on how we can help you share your message with the world. Are you struggling to get your team trained in using Zoho effectively? Considering the hefty costs of team meetings and onboarding sessions dedicated to Zoho training, there has to be an easier way. Say hello to efficiency with our Zoho team training courses. Zoho CRM made easy. Become a project management pro, top-tier customer support, and maximize your marketing impact. Are you ready to equip your team? Start today at zenatta.com/training and let us lead the way. This episode of the CRM Zen Show is brought to you by ZPortals. ZPortals is a must-have extension allowing you to effortlessly coordinate with clients and partners. We configure ZPortals all the time for our clients who are looking for the best portal solution. And boy, do we love how easy it is to customize and the flexibility to connect to multiple Zoho apps. So don't wait. Check out ZPortals today and be sure to mention Zenatta to get 10% off your first month.
Junk data can clog up your CRM, making it harder to focus on the records that matter. Next thing you know, you've got a mountain of records to sort through, and you're not even sure where to start. This is why we created the Zenatta Health Check for Zoho CRM. This extension reads your Zoho CRM's users, leads, deals, accounts, contacts, and tasks data, and provides you with a monthly summary straight to your inbox of some of the key indicators of data quality for these core modules. With the Zenatta Health Check, you'll get notified in your monthly report whether or not you have unused Zoho CRM licenses, or if you have contacts missing email addresses, or accounts with no associated contacts. In addition, you'll get links to helpful videos and blogs from the Zenatta resource library showing you how you can clean up your system and keep it clean. We also include buttons on each of the core modules that let you generate your health check report whenever you need it. The Zenatta Health Check for Zoho CRM. A clean system is a better system.
There's a whole lot of commercials going on there, a whole lot of sponsors. Looking good, by the way. Our health check has launched, so I think we just ended with that. If you want to check that thing out, head over to the marketplace and search on health check. It's the Zenatta Health Check app. I think we've got a 7-day free trial. Give it a shot. You might like it. All right. So we actually do, I believe, we don't have any announcements, but we've got a lot of events. Tyler, it looks like you are going to be doing a whole thing on Zoho Voice. How's that coming?
That's the plan. I've got the demo account set up. I got a phone number that I've acquired. So yeah, we are good to go. We're going to be doing a full walkthrough there of the application, the settings, setting up your agents and queues, configuring the calls themselves, and then of course integrating to the rest of the Zoho environment. So should be a good one to take a look at. We had a lot of demand for this after we did the phone bridge webinar. Lots of people were like, oh man, I kind of wish this was a voice webinar. So we thought, hey, wish granted, we will make that for you. So hopefully you all find it useful. We have a lot of people always ask us, right? Is it ready? Is it, can I switch from Ring Central? Can I switch from whatever I'm on now? So hoping to get that answered for you there with that full product overview.
Very cool. And then we'll round out March with a couple CRM Zen shows and the same in April, but we're going to be changing. We normally do our Zoho One full product overview, but on April 16th, Tyler and I are going to do Zoho One and beyond. And we're going to go through every single Zoho application. It's going to be about a 4 to 5 hour podcast. So, just watch it. Think of it as, Children of the Flower Moon. Is that the one that's 4 hours long, or one of those these movies? Yeah, it's going to be long. But it should be good. And Zoho has got a whole slew of events. So remember, if you just head over to Club Zenatta, click on events, all of the events are right there. They are really stepping it up here in March, and April has a full slate. Zoho One Workshop, Power Social Media, all those kinds of things. And we rarely talk about other events, but we do have a few. So you got Zoho Creator Low Code Magic, and that's going to be with the CIO Edge Esperanza virtual keynote talk. So that should be pretty good. And then Zoho Creator Power and Custom Business Apps. So a couple non-Zoho events with some other people in them. So worth checking out there as well. And with that, let's get right on into our news. All right. So a little PSA to start things off here. If you are a user of Zoho Connect, and if you're not familiar, Zoho Connect is a really kind of interesting I don't know what we call it. Intranet.
Technically, it's an intranet product. So it's kind of like an internal platform for like Q&As and town halls and some task management, some learning resources. It's an interesting application. We don't end up using it too much in our builds. Some people use it and they love it. So we always like to include it in this. But it looks like this is kind of just a PSA, right? There's a couple integrations that need some updates for Connect.
Yeah, basically, if you use Asana, Google Drive, GitHub, Eventbrite, Trello, Google Calendar, or MailChimp, those integrations will need to be re-enabled. I don't know if they gave us a date here. Probably now, it looks like. So if you're using, when you go, hey, they're broken, you can just go ahead and re-enable those. Should be pretty straightforward. So some changes must have been done on the back end that broke all of those, because it's not just one company. There's a whole lot here. So you'll need to reconfigure those integrations as well. Oh, by March 30th. So guess what? You've got 15 days to get that done. So there we go. All righty. And then moving along with the first real news story. You can now, in SalesIQ, their chatbots are now supporting 30 languages. So if your SalesIQ is a Swiss Army knife of various tools, one of them, it actually provides a chat window that you can boot chatbots. And now they've got 30 different languages in SalesIQ that are powered by Zia, I guess. So you can go ahead and people can choose their language. And if you're using a chatbot, away you go.
Yeah, this is really cool. They've worked a lot within the kind of desk environment for doing multilingual support.
Yep.
So really nice. One of the things that I think is cool here is that the answer bot is not like hard-coded language, right? So with like a Zobot, it kind of makes more sense. It's like question one, pick your language, and then it just branches.
Right.
You're kind of defining the different branches and paths. So like hypothetically, you kind of could have brute forced your own multi-language support with it in the past if you just, managed it with decision trees. But the answer bot is a lot more flexible. It kind of has to take like much less structured commands. Right? You're not always just going to pick from a set of options. Like it's more of like natural language processing. So yeah, pretty impressive for Zoho. They're able to support up to 30 different languages with that. Really nice. I mean, we've had a couple clients start using the answer bot. Very happy with it. So well worth taking a look at this to, automate some of the support activities that you might be doing. Even if you can set up a bot and it eliminates 20% of the tickets that come in, that's 20% less tickets that you have to deal with. So well worth exploring these and seeing if they might be valuable for your business.
Absolutely. All righty. And moving right along, you can now add in Zoho Desk, if you are building out a blueprint transition, during transitions, you actually can now call a marketplace extension. Might seem kind of minor, but it actually, I think, has some nifty little real world implementations for this.
Yeah, and so really, and I don't know that this will work with like every single marketplace extension, right? So you'll want to test out and make sure that the one that you're looking to use is supported by this flow. I would imagine a lot of the ones for Zoho apps are going to be supported first. But this is an example, like if we scroll down, they had an image somewhere here. Yeah, right there. Where now as part of a blueprint, I could actually have the user create a work item in something like Sprints or a calendar event in something like Zoho Calendar. That's really nice, right? And so they're kind of showing this workflow where, okay, this person put in a request for a refund. If we accept it, we're going to create this ticket inside of Sprints to actually process that. So yeah, really nice functionality here. A lot of use cases for kind of embedding widgets in blueprints where you might need to like kick off a process in a different application based on the path that you're going down. So yeah, big shout out to Zoho. I'm happy to see this one. It's a cool update.
Very, very nice. Very nice. All righty. And moving on with more Zoho Desk here. Zoho Desk ASAP announcement. A demo app is on the way. We've talked about this, about ASAP before. Basically, it's app support across platforms. It's a widget. It's a standalone mobile app that allows you to tap into your knowledge base and customer support. So everything lives over inside Zoho Desk. And what they've done here is, because we've actually been talking about this, is they actually built a very, very, very nice demo app that you can go ahead and play around with and get an idea of the power of ASAP in Zoho Desk. It looks like, if I'm judging by the one image that's in here, they built it around a food company. So
yeah, looks like it.
Food delivery company. So looks pretty cool.
Yeah, and the nice thing with this is that the ASAP widget is a really cool function. You can embed it on a website or within like your own mobile application. The nice thing about this is that like embedding it in a mobile application is not super easy. So like if I want to make a demo of the ASAP widget on a website, super easy because you can just use your knowledge base and basically turn it on, right? So you can go to that knowledge base and kind of interact with the widget and test it. To do it in a mobile app means you actually have to implement it using the SDK, right? To be able to even like see what it would look and feel like on a mobile application. So this is a really nice tool that would allow a customer just to validate like, yes, I want this in my mobile app before going through the entire process of integrating it and building it out, because it's not like a 5 clicks. It's a decent amount of work. Yeah, non-trivial to build it out. So yeah, really good idea. I'm extra happy about this because one of my customers recently asked about this in particular. Can I see this and how it would look and feel? So now you can. If you're watching, you know who you are. I'll be sending this in an email to you here in a couple minutes.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, and moving on with the news. If you are a Bigin user and you are using the forms, they've been doing a lot of work in Bigin. As a matter of fact, we've had a few news articles about them updating the forms inside of Bigin. You now can actually add your own domain to them. They're calling customizable form links in Bigin. So if you wanted to send out a web form for someone to fill out that you've built inside Bigin, it no longer has to be bigin.zoho.com/CRM/webform sort of blah, 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 blah. You can now very, very easily put it in for your own home. And so to replace the Bigin.online with your own domain, it looks like they built a rather nice wizard that will go ahead and you can tell it, hey, I'm on GoDaddy, and it's going to go ahead and it's going to, write the DNS record for you and give you exactly what you're after here. So very nice. Very nice implementation. Yes. I'm always pleased when you don't have to go copy and paste into your DNS and you always mess it up and leave something out, but yeah. So this is, anyway, using, and by the way, I'm talking to more and more people that are using Bigin. I know we've implemented it a few times. It has not been a big thing. Mostly you'll see split implementations where the field sales maybe is using Bigin, but a lot of people are liking it. A lot of people who come from Pipedrive are liking it.
Yeah. Or a lot of people that want a mobile app that's easy to use. One thing about the proper CRM, the big one, is the mobile app. Not exactly the most intuitive for like managing a pipeline, where Bigin is a lot more geared for mobile usage.
Yes. The mobile app gets interesting, especially when you click on a record and the fields it decides to display do sometimes seem rather random and you have to show all fields. It's just, there's a whole lot going on there. But anyway, nice job, Bigin team, and moving right along. If you are using Zoho Recruit, which we recommend, it is a great application. They are now using Zia's refined match. Basically, I'm not sure there's any artificial intelligence in here, but if you've got a bunch of candidates you want to plow through and you have set up the criteria that you are looking for, it is going to look at those candidates, look at the specific criteria you want, see if it matches that client's profile and resume. And if so, it's going to say, hey, you might have 100 candidates, but here are 5 or 6 you should really look at because they score the highest as far as what you are looking for.
Really nice.
Super, super helpful. I know we just put out an ad for developers and consultants, and we had 120 people reply.
Something like that. Yeah, 100-something people come in a couple days.
Yeah, so Josh and Greg, you might want to implement this matching process here. And maybe it will help us. So it's pretty nice. Done a nice job.
And the one thing that I think is pretty cool about this specifically as a use case is like for recruiting and staffing companies, right? Like I'm just thinking the volume, right? It's like for us, it'd be nice. We hire a person every 2 months or so, right? So it would save us some time. But if you're hiring every day, right? Like if you're a recruiting company and you just need to go through a ton of different candidates and applicants, this I would have to imagine could save a ton of time. And then it looks like it kind of works bi-directional. So like you could find matching candidates for a job. You could also find matching jobs for a candidate. So like depending on what workflow you're using. So if you're a company that works for the candidate and you're trying to place them, then you would do it that way. Well thought out. Again, I think particularly for recruiting staffing agencies, this would be hugely useful and could cut down on a lot of like manual review time. Just having it filter for you at the top of the funnel like this.
Yeah, very, very nice. And I love the job they keep doing with Recruit. They're making nice changes to it and good enhancement. All right, Tyler, let's wrap up the news. By the way, before we wrap up the news, though, and move on, I mentioned earlier at the top of the show, we did 7 stories. There are 8 stories we didn't cover because they're just kind of minor. If you subscribe to our newsletter, just head over to Zenatta.com/newsletter, subscribe to it. You get all of the stories we talked about today, plus all the ones that we left out for time's sake. So be sure to do that because there is a lot of stuff we just can't get to on the show. We try to focus on what we think are the biggest things that happened in the world of Zoho last week. And on a week like this, which seems to be more and more often, there were weeks, Tyler, where it would be, wow, we only have 4 stories, But now it's wow, we got 20 stories. Let's go. The 20 new things that Zoho did this week to their product or announcements they made. It's a lot. So we summarize it all in that newsletter for you. So be sure to check that out. And now let's go over to our implementation of the week.
Alrighty, so implementation of the week this week, kind of topical coming from a Recruit story, is a custom sync for notes between CRM and Recruit. This was set up by Landon and Jason on our team, and it was actually for a recruiting and staffing company. So perfect little segue here. So a lot of the times when we work with either recruiting and or staffing agencies, the flow within Zoho works really well. Essentially, you're working your sales process in CRM. And then from that closed won deal, when you've confirmed you're going to do the hiring for somebody, you can have the system automatically create you a job opening with all of that information in Recruit to start managing the candidates. The challenge, though, is that recruiting is a process that can take some time. There's a lot of notes that are taken on both sides of the aisle, and those notes are important for everybody to be able to see. Particular example could be, I'm kind of the account manager or the salesperson, and I close this deal, and then we're going to get started on the hiring process. Me as the account manager, I might have very little to do with that hiring. But if the client wants an update, who are they going to call? They're going to call me because I sent them the contract or the proposal. And so we want to make sure that within CRM and within Recruit, we have full visibility in any of the notes that are being taken on both sides of the aisle. So what we need to do is essentially make sure that we set up the integration so that when that deal is closed won and the job opening is created, we kind of store the relevant IDs on both sides. So the job opening stores some info about the deal, and the deal stores some info about the job opening that it just created. Then all we need to do is use a tool like Zoho Flow that can trigger when a note is taken on one side of the system, and make sure that that note is pushed over to the other and logged under the appropriate record. Just to make sure that, again, if that account manager gets a phone call, they can always jump into the CRM and see, okay, our hiring team actually just left a note yesterday. They've got a really great candidate who we're going to interview for a second round interview tomorrow. Some other kind of added things that we built into this is a lot of different actions will automatically leave a note on a record, which then, of course, transfers to the other system, just to make sure that we don't always have to type everything manually, right? So certain interview outcomes can leave a note, which then reconciles itself over to CRM. Overall, kind of just solving that issue of the communication gap. Whenever you're working one client's process through various applications, there can sometimes be a need to kind of leave this breadcrumb trail of record IDs, right? So that we can send data between these different records whenever we need to, so that ideally salesperson doesn't have to message the recruiting team and say, hey, how are we tracking on this client, right? They should just be able to see all this activity in the place that they are most comfortable. So big shout out to Landon and Jason. Cool. Landon works with a lot of recruiting and staffing clients. He's a former recruiter before becoming a Zoho nerd. So always happy to help out with these types of builds. And I think this is one that a lot of people find value in.
Yeah, simple, elegant. That's kind of the nice thing about it. It's really, really something you can say, oh, that's kind of obvious, and nice implementation. Did it take long to build this out?
No, nothing crazy. A big part of this is just making sure that the structure and the flow is good, and then adding the actual automations to write the notes is not an insane amount of work or anything.
Nice. Alrighty, and with that, let's move on back over to Club Z and look at our code share of the week. All right, Andrew has come up with COQL with special characters. So basically, COQL does great queries, but if records contain special characters, it can mess everything up. So here is a little bit of code that replaces those special characters with a comma, then turns the remaining string into a list that is formatted into a list of clauses. So basically, we see this all the time. Extra little characters sometimes in a string can just completely throw everything off, and you sit there for hours trying to figure out what's wrong. But in this case, he actually had this problem evidently and solved it with this little bit of code.
Yeah, and COQL is essentially making an SQL query of your Zoho data. It's a very efficient way to get data out of the system, especially if you need to pull it from various modules, right? So rather than getting 200 contacts and then for each contact getting data from their account, we can just make a composite request. and say like, get me 200 contacts with this account data so that I don't need to make a separate call. So yeah, we're moving a lot more of our development whenever we need to get like a list of data to using COQLs kind of by default. It's almost kind of our default method now. But because it's built on SQL, it's very sensitive to special characters. It really doesn't like them. So essentially what Andrew's doing here is just replacing all the characters that COQL doesn't like with the equivalent version of those characters that COQL is okay with, which just allows the search function to not get thrown off by something like an apostrophe, a % symbol that might be in a name, which is rare, but again, rare doesn't mean never. And so we don't want those issues to ever pop up and cause one of these to fail.
Very, very, very nice. And we say it every time, but if you were not a member of Club Z, just head over to club.zenatta.com. All we require is your email. The only thing you're ever going to get from us is our weekly newsletter. When you sign up for Club Zenatta, you won't get any other communication. We won't sell your list unless somebody pays us a lot of money. But no, probably not.
Yeah, well, then we have to.
Then we have to. There's nothing we can do here. But it's quite active. I've been out for a couple weeks, and I kind of left this stuff up because I popped in, and we've got 15 new in the general discussion, 5 new things we noticed, 75 of Zah's questions, all sorts of. It is a very, very, very active board and really worth, it's a great community. Everybody's helping each other. We're jumping in there helping. So if you haven't checked it out, please chat over to Club Zenatta. I think if you're a Zoho user, you're really, really going to like it. And speaking of Club Zenatta, let's go over to Zenatta.com and see what's happening over there.
That segue. What a professional. Like what a pro.
I know. Thank you. That's what they pay me nothing for. But anyway, so Club Zenatta turns 2. So we just wanted to actually note, we actually turned 2, I think, back in January. But I think the team was going back and looking at the original, basically, Club Z that we launched. We launched it on Buddy Boss, which was a WordPress plugin, and it was just a disaster. I mean, it was just virtually unusable and so crazy. And then basically a little over a year ago in January 2023, many people know I've got a wine thing. I was in a wine community that was really, really, really nice, and just built on Circle.so. And so we ended up adopting Circle.so. It's not cheap. I think we pay $4,000 a year or something for it, but it is a rock solid platform. And they've worked that through a lot of stuff too. And I just love what they've done. There were some SEO issues, but that seems to have gone away, and we're getting all that done. But a lot has happened. Our growth has just been amazing, and just love the fact that, when we conceived of this thing, Tyler, we weren't sure it would work or not. But
I was in the nay and you were in the yay category for that. But yeah, it's great to see the growth of the community. What I always love to see too is like interactions that we're not even a part of happening, right? So like somebody asking a question and somebody else who's just a fellow Zoho nerd jumping in and saying like, you know what, I actually ran into that before. Here's how I solved it. Always just really cool to have a community of people who are just very much into Zoho, developing it and making it the best that it can be. So be sure to join if you are a fellow Zoho lover.
We should add a new award to the Zenmies next year, which is
great idea.
Yeah. A Club Z MVP award or something like that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
All righty. And with that, let's take a look at our question of the week. Or let's take a look at our tip of the week.
We could do that.
You make one change to the show after 5 years, and I just can't sort it all out in my brain. It's just too rote at this point in time. But first with the tip, Tyler, we talked about this a few weeks ago. I believe Zoho launched the all-new Kiosk Studio for process management inside of Zoho CRM, and you have decided to put together a little tutorial on it.
Yep. So in our ongoing goal this year to kind of cover a lot more of the new features as they come out for everybody, we wanted to record a video on Kiosk. It's interesting. It's essentially like process management, similar to a blueprint. But the difference is that technically you don't need to just be using fields from the record. You can kind of work in some other things, like you can actually have it like run a search as a step. So here I show setting up a lead flow where the first step that it does is search contacts for a matching email address. And it'll only let you proceed with the outreach if we don't find a match. So there's a couple of these little like shiny things in there that aren't supported in any of the other process management tools. So yeah, really interesting functionality here. Lots of use cases for it. And so, yeah, we hope you find the video useful. I sure can think of some ways that I might use this for some ongoing engagements that we're working with.
Fantastic. And if you don't already know, head over to our YouTube channel where you will find all of these videos that we do every single week. And speaking of which, now let's go look at the question of the week. So Azaz has changed into kind of a question of the week kind of thing. You asked Zenatta anything about Zoho, and we will answer it. So we're doing several questions. Each week we pick out what we think is the best question that we have seen come across either through YouTube or over in Club Z, and we answer it. And this week was, does Zoho Deluge support the throws function with custom exceptions? And evidently, it does, and we're going to tell you how to do it. So a very boutique-ish question, I must say, that our developers probably went, oh, this is a great one for us to answer. So anyway, there you go. So go ahead and take a look. That was actually someone watched Greg's video on the Creator and Deluge. And anyway, here we've got Andrew and Greg doing a deep dive on this. So they 10 minutes on this. So evidently there's a lot going on here, Tyler. Looks like we got code share.
I don't know that Zoho supports natively like a throw. What they're probably going to do here will be like a try catch with some info statements or return statements. But yeah, Zoho has a couple little things they notate kind of differently, where like most languages might call it a throw, but they call it something else. So well worth taking a look at if you are a Zoho developer, or he's trying to demystify things within Zoho, right? Lots of people get tripped up by just what they call things. The classic is they everywhere else in the world would call something an object, and Deluge is called a map. It's the same thing once you know, but yeah, right out of the gate, it can be a little tricky to learn some of these things.
Yeah. And again, head over to youtube.com/Zenatta, and you can follow up on all of our videos. They are all right here. And with that, Tyler, let's wrap up the show.
Hey, great week. Good having you back. Welcome to the new home. I hope you're enjoying things. It's still up in the air. Maybe we'll ask our viewers. Brett's trying to decide, does he stick with the green screen or does he do a bit of a build out behind him? I'm waffling. The green screen, we could do something funny, like Freddie could surprise you with a background that you weren't expecting. But there is something nice about having a solid thing behind you. So viewers, let us know. Leave a comment. What should Brett do? Green screen, build out, blank wall? Who knows? It's up to you guys. You let us know what you think.
And I will, whatever you vote, I will do. I won't have a choice in the matter.
This is contractual. So let us know.
Contractual binding. So, all right, everybody. With that, let's wrap things up here. As always, if you would like to talk to us over here at Zenatta, then please head over to zenatta.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, you will find the book a meeting link, and click that, and you'll be talking to us in no time at all.
And on the website is where you'll also find complete episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today. If you want that news delivered straight to your inbox every Monday morning, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. And as always, we appreciate when you like and subscribe here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We'll see you next Friday.
Take care, everybody. All right, time to go and pack some more boxes. Off I go.